Yeah, I just prepared just a couple of paragraphs, but just to make sure I get all the sort of the key points in. So just to talk about our learning and specifically mine over the past 4 Thursdays, just 1 hour a week. A few of us have met with Carl to consider on the run up to Lent the whole topic of lamenting. Quite an old-fashioned word, actually. It's a word I really like, but it's not often used. And at first, I must admit, I thought it sounded a very complaint-driven way of approaching God. I do in my prayers, not always very successfully at all, but I do try a lot of the time not to moan or sound off to God and always be asking for what I want for me or my family or sort of my wider circle. Or whatever. And I think often I do try and put the sunny side out, and maybe I think it's better and count my blessings. And of course, it's always important to do that. But I would say my biggest learning point over the 4 weeks is, Janice, who are you trying to kid? God knows every thought anyway, and every flicker of thought, you know, positive or negative, before I even think it. So the key learning has very much been sort of 4 stages. It's been to stop, to learn to stop rather than just sort of chunter on in my own sort of muddled way, to stop in the middle of every situation and turn to God, for that to be much more of an automatic thing that I do rather than trying to do it in my own strength. And actually, it was a real revelation. God actually wants us to complain to him, you know, not to be afraid to cry, to be real and really tell him how we feel, whether we think something's fair or unfair, whatever tiny aspect or massive aspect of our life or the world. He wants us to lament our situations, but he doesn't leave us there. He wants us then to ask him what we desire. He wants us to pray fervently for things to him. And then lastly, and often very you know, what I find very difficult is I give it to God, but it's the trusting, the 4th part, that he knows what is timely and what is best for us. So that they were very much the 4 pillars of what we looked at. And then we looked at some Psalms, and then we thought for ourselves, you know, how can we properly lament using those 4 areas? How can we lament to God? So that's a very quick sort of trot through what I got from the 4 weeks.
Thank you very much, Janice. How did you feel at the beginning about the prospect of 4 sessions, and how did you feel at the end?
Well, I must admit, I thought that seems a lot. 4 weeks seems a lot, even though it's literally very much, you know, kept to the hour, which was great because obviously, you know, we had it in the evening. And I thought at the first it was maybe quite a lot of time to think about that subject, but there was so many different aspects and just unpicking it. So actually, I do feel that I've got a bit more of a structure, and I'm allowing myself to just have a bit. Over the 4 weeks, I've learned to have much more of a real conversation and sort of do things in the right order with God, you know, because sometimes before I would just sound off in my own head, and then I'd say, sorry, God, I shouldn't be moaning. And then I'd still be trying to fumble around doing things in my own way. But I've learned much more to, under that broad structure, give it to God.
Thank you.